Greetings, salutations, hello! Today's topic of conversation is, if I had to restart my dreadlocks, which method would I choose? Okay, so deciding which method you should choose to start your dreadlock journey is not always the easiest question to answer. There aren't necessarily clear-cut differences between the various different methods, and a lot of them start very much the same way and end up very much the same way, and so finding little differences between them in order to make a decision as to which one is best for you is not always the easiest thing to do. Therefore, I will very often get asked, which method would I choose if I was in a situation where I had to restart my dreadlocks? If I had to choose which one I would choose. This is a question that I find rather interesting, and it's a question that I've given quite a lot of thought. So I'm going to share these thoughts with you here today, now, in this video. So I come at this question from two different angles, this angle and this angle. On the one hand, I think about it as if I was to restart today, now, well, tomorrow. As if I woke up tomorrow and my hair was unlocked and I had to restart my dreadlocks. Well, I wouldn't have to, but I would choose to restart my dreadlocks. Or, on the other hand, this hand, what would I choose if I could go back in time to when I originally started my dreadlocks at 14? Would I do anything different? And the answer is yes. However, I would choose different methods for different periods in my life. If I was to restart tomorrow from fresh, undreaded hair, now at 23 years old, I would choose the natural freeform neglect method, whichever word you prefer, where you just have regular hair and over time you just neglect it and wait for it to form dreadlocks from scratch. If I was to go back in time and restart my dreadlocks at 14 again, I would start via the backcomb method. There's a reason for this difference. I don't believe that there is one single method that is going to be the best method for every person at every point in their life. Each method is going to have its own pros and cons that are going to relate differently to different people at different periods in their life depending on the situations that they're in. Here, now at 23, I am very different to how I was at 14. 14 years old, I was still in high school. It's a very sort of interesting period of your life, not necessarily my favorite. If you've seen my high school dreadlocks experience video, it may give you some indication as to my high school dreadlocks experience. But being in high school, you have to make a lot of decisions that are going to affect the rest of your life. There's a lot of pressure. There's still that high school social thing. And I don't think adding freeform dreadlocks into that situation would be the best thing for me. I think adding dreadlocks into that situation is it's a bit of a complication to an already complicated time. But if I had the choice, I would still go back and start dreadlocks. I would still choose to start dreadlocks at 14. I think overall dreadlocks have had more of a positive impact on my life than a negative. But now at 23, I would not choose to back home. Now at 23, I'm very different. I'm a lot more confident in myself. I'm a lot more confident in what I want to do with my life. I am a lot more confident in my world view, my view of the world, and I don't put as much emphasis on what other people think, really. Unless someone has a direct impact on my life, I don't really have so much of an interest in their opinions on what I'm doing with my time, my life, or, you know, my hair in this situation. I think at 23, I would be a lot freer and more comfortable free-forming my hair than I would at 14. I think I would start my dreadlocks for different reasons at 23 or 14. I think at 23, I wouldn't think of it so much as starting my dreadlocks, just more along the lines of I'm not brushing my hair. I'm growing my hair, I'm not brushing it, dreadlocks will form, but the end result, maturing dreadlocks, is not really my driving goal. It's just I'm not interested in brushing my hair, and so this is what is going to form. Whereas at 14, I think that I put a lot more emphasis on the aesthetic aspect because, you know, I was 14, I didn't really know what I wanted, I didn't really see the world in the same way, and so dreadlocks were a lot more, they look cool, they would be cool to have. I think at 14, I need that sort of visual stimulus, the ability to see the backcombed lumps, the ability to see that there are things there, and you can watch the backcomb lumps form into dreadlocks versus if you were free-forming, you could go weeks and months without really seeing anything at all. I'm not entirely sure that 14-year-old me would stick with dreadlocks if I was free-forming, whereas now at 23, as I said, I would have a very different reason for starting or growing dreadlocks. I would just not be interested in brushing my hair, and so it would not really be a huge bother for me now if I didn't see anything forming for weeks or months. So it's very much dependent on the individual person at the individual point in their life. So I hope that fully answered the question, which method would I choose if I had to restart my dreadlocks. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, useful, informative, enjoyable, entertaining, I don't know, you can click the like button, then I know you liked it and you liked this type of video. If you'd like to see more videos from myself in the future, you can of course subscribe, and then all my new videos will be sent to your YouTube feeds. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you again next time. Farewell!